All right. Welcome to a podcast. Your host, Stephen Maxted here. And today we have Chris Hall with PortalBots. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. You have an incredibly interesting company, and it's almost our 1 year anniversary. Coming up, because if you're going to United the Prairies or just around there, that's about like where I think we met for the first time. I think we'd maybe
chatted. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you meant the podcast 1 year.
No,
1 year anniversary of knowing each other, of this relationship. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Us. Yeah.
Friendship.
So, and thanks for joining us today. I know this is already going to be a great episode. Before getting into it, they're all great. We always learn something new. Chatting through here, but
if there was a hierarchy of greatness, okay, cool.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Cool. So tell us what's going on. What's PortalBots? Give the listener a feel for what's going on your way. I know this is going to bounce around for the listener in terms of what we cover.
Sure. So PortalBots is an online entertainment experience where customers race and battle and play robot soccer with real robots from anywhere in the world. And we do corporate entertainment. So the aim is to find a way to build positive culture and help. So companies who are hybrid or remote and they want to build culture, but they never actually meet each other in person. How do you build culture if you never go into the office and play foosball on the foosball table? So they can do quizzes, or you can do online baking or an escape room online. This is a truly interactive experience with real robots controlled like a kind of like a computer game from anywhere in the world.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
And it's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I keyed you up here. I kind of knew a little bit about that. I don't know if I knew about like the virtual thing. I know initially when we had chatted like a little while back about this, I think it was still like in person, or if it like has evolved like to this, or maybe
when we met in United the Prairies, it was all online then. It started PortalBots started with the view of doing it in person. A little bit of background. I started one of Canada's first virtual reality entertainment companies back in 2016, I think it was, and business was pretty good, but we opened a shop, our first storefront, on March 3rd, 2020, and then closed it on March 20th, 2020, and COVID and putting something on your face and giving it to someone else and then smearing the COVID on their face. Terrible industry to be in. So PortalBots was actually my pivot. And it was going to be in person, people coming in, there being some sort of social distancing aspect to it. And then when we had total lockdowns, I found a way to connect people's computers to the robots from afar. And in doing so, develop something that hadn't been done before and still hasn't been done by anyone else.
Awesome.
And post-COVID, if you can say post-COVID, now that it's completely eradicated, now we've remained doing it only online. It just makes more sense, and I've got this kind of cool niche, which is great.
Yeah, we should really make a point for me to like try this out, because I've talked about it. No, I should really do that with you.
I should probably let people play it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, no, but it sounds like a great fit. We have like a mix of things going on right now, regardless of outcome of folks going back to the office or not. This is still really cool because many companies are international.
Yeah, and it's not just I'm not just aiming for the Winnipeg market now. So when I was doing virtual reality, it was people in just Winnipeg. But I've had teams in Australia play. So that's amazing. Running around the play area, commentating, which is I have a headset like this, and I run around the robots, and having people in Australia, 20,000 kilometers away, absolutely is phenomenal. It's absolutely wonderful. I started off with most customers being in Winnipeg just through sort of reaching out to within my network, but now I did yesterday. There was a team in Missouri, and a lot of Vancouver-based businesses, Toronto-based businesses. It's mainly out of Manitoba now. Yeah,
awesome. As I think that it would be, because there's only so many companies here, and if they're in person or whatever, they're probably not going to be like a fit. But if it's something outside of here, then that's really cool. So it's mainly soccer, is that what I'm hearing, for like the game that you play, or is there
we have a number of different games. So the as you can see, Yeah, correct finger. The
Right,
robot here has
yeah.
the laser tag blaster on the top, and so they are laser tag robots. You can play a game of laser tag, and also they have there's a camera there, and the camera allows people to obviously see what they're doing, but it also has picture recognition, which allows it to do like a Mario Kart style race, and pick up checkpoints as it drives around, which is cool. And then, but the Rocket League, or Sprocket League, I call it, so I don't get sued, is just the most fun. I've got a Dollarama ball that I throw in, 6 robots battling it out 3-on-3, and it's just absolutely brilliant. No one's tried anything like it. It's very silly, and just an absolute blast. Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, so you have a few different versions of games that are playing with these people.
Yeah. So depending on what the team's looking for, I push the Robo Soccer version the most, because it's the most fun for me to do. It's just very fun and silly. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I love hearing that. And so what size of teams are you doing? You mentioned it might be like 3-on-3 base, but like how big? What do you?
So we currently have one arena with 6 robots, and it works kind of like when you go to a go-karting track, you'd have 6 people, let's say, racing, and then you'd have the rest of the team watching. So I broadcast live on Twitch. So the rest of the team can be watching on Twitch. They're on the Zoom call, so they're listening and they're chatting and bragging and some cheerful encouragement, but mostly like, you suck, I'm going to be much better. That sort of cheering, banter, as us Brits call it. And then, once a game is over, a 6 to 8 minute game, I kick people out of the robots, get the next group in, and carry on. Those who were playing watch the live stream, and I could do minimum. I do is 6 in an hour. Maximum is 18. But I have done 24 people in an hour. That means every group of 6 gets 15 minutes of play time, and then watching. That's absolute carnage, but brilliant. Yeah, really fun.
That sounds great. And that sounds like you'd be able to include or encompass most workplaces right there. It's just like the numbers. I was thinking, I'm like, hey, like who's about that size and stuff, or like we'll call it what it is, but different like divisions, right? You have like a marketing division or whatever. If the whole company is too big, then you break it up into those days. I know it's some other experiences in life that sometimes you're not targeting the whole company, you're just targeting
our largest
one team that wants to get together. So
our largest booking was 72 players over 6 hours with Shopify. Their interns did it, and it was absolutely
that is
huge.
So cool.
It was me for 6 hours. I just didn't stop. It was absolutely crazy. My brain was total mush at the end, and I try and commentate. So I'm running around chasing these robots.
And
after 6 hours, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But still have 100% 5-star reviews, so people must love it. I'm sure my accent probably helps, but
it can't hurt. It's
it
nice
can't
to
hurt,
listen
exactly.
to. So
yeah.
Oh, that's super fun. Okay, so you can do like some pretty large teams then. If that's
So like that was 12 people per hour for 6 hours. So that's 72. I wouldn't do 24 people per hour for 6 hours. It would be carnage. But so but 6 to 18 is a good number. Yeah, and then as many people who want to watch as want to, because it's on Twitch.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
And how are people finding you? I guess like in general, like when you're talking to these people in Australia and stuff, like is it just like, I mean, we went met at like a tech function, startup. I guess what we call it. Startup community thing, and like so these people are like all around the world. Like are you in different like groups? Are they just hearing like word of mouth? But like that, all these companies are international. Like there were a few of them that you mentioned are. So it's like
So I aim for a North American market. USA and Canada specifically, and they just if they're truly global companies, then they'll have teams throughout the world. I don't specifically go to Australia. Like when you have players in Australia, the latency is noticeable. And I'd much, if I was going to do something with the Australian market, I would have a Portal Bots in Australia to make it much better, which would be a nice holiday to do. But so maybe one day we'll have sort of franchises. But for the time being, it makes sense to just have it aimed at companies within North America, and then if they've got players outside, which is funny actually. My insurance company, when they found out that people were controlling robots from outside of North America, were like, no, we will not insure you. Even though the robot is physically in Winnipeg, they were like, no, we can't insure you. So I actually went with a different company, and saved a lot of money, and it was totally fine. I was being scalped a little bit, but yeah, the fact that the robots, even though the robots are physically here, that the fact that I'm doing, there are people controlling them from outside, they weren't very happy with. Little segue there for you.
No, totally. Well, I mean, like it's a part of business. That's kind of like the whole point of the podcast, is to talk about like, different things that come up. And, I was just like discussing some insurance things the other day on my businesses. And it was kind of one of those moments. I was in the meeting with the first, we'll keep it very ambiguous here for names of folks and insurance companies. But at one point they're like, oh, yeah, well, you're probably going to want insurance for, this and that. And I was kind of like, really? I was just like, never mind. Of course you're going to say that, because you're kind of selling it. Yeah. I was like, there's that side, like, you got to understand they're selling it to you too. Like, you can never have enough insurance for different things, but it's like, at what point, like, is it really not like
ChatGPT, chuck in the policy into ChatGPT, and then you'll know exactly what you're insured for. I'm very excited about that. But that is a massive segue.
No, that's okay. Well, what's going on there? What do you mean? Like ChatGPT?
ChatGPT of AI. Yeah. So you can put in any document and then say, like, tell me, put this into like 5 points. What am I insured for? I'm super excited for long legal documents and not really knowing what I'm insured for or what my legal obligation is or whatever. I could say, summarize this into language that I understand. Boop, off it goes. And wouldn't that be cool?
Well, yeah, that would
change the world. There's a business there. There's a business there.
But it does that right now for you? That's it.
I don't use it, but I would, if I wanted to make sure, like, something crashed into something else or whatever. Am I insured for it? I would put in the policy. Yeah. Huh. ADHD explosion. I'm not sure what happened.
No, I know both of our brains are going off. No, that's super great.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this, Steve? We're going to create a business right now.
Yeah, I was going to say we just end up like launching something there, but I mean, it's a common thing that like a lot of like startups do too. Like I know in general just struggle with conversing with an insurance provider in many ways, because they're used to, home, auto, the basics there. Maybe for a business that's like in a building, and they're more like contents, or if there is like downtime within the business, what does that look like? Mm-hmm. But it's sometimes tricky to get like that first provider to insure you, because if you've just
especially when you do something so out of the ordinary that they're like, what is this? And explain what it is. And
No, that totally makes sense. No, it's okay. Well, insurance is part of business, right? So right. I don't know. We just went on like a tangent of international stuff there too. But so what got you started in this? Like I know I kind of know this, but for a listener here, let's break that down a little bit more.
In starting the Portal Virtual Reality Studio, what got me started that was that I tried virtual reality. I was doing a job that I hated. I was working for a non-profit and I wasn't really very good at it. And I was very sort of upset with life with it. And I had quit at that stage. I was looking for a new thing to do. And I tried virtual reality like very, very early in this new generation of VR. And I was like, people will definitely pay for this. Like, what can I do? Is it possible to buy a headset and start up a virtual reality business? And I asked my wife, and she was like, sure, yeah, sure, go on then. So I did some research, found out that I could. I think I ended up opening the third virtual reality entertainment company in Canada, which was pretty cool. One of the first of the new generation of studios in the world. And then just realized that I absolutely love entertainment, and all the sort of other sort of back office business stuff that I'd done in the past I was just not very good at it. And ADHD brain, man. Like I needed to be around people and sort of, be an extrovert. And so when PortalBots came from the pandemic, it was just natural progression. And now I get to sort of run around chasing robots, commentating, getting teams involved in cool things, listening to them gleefully screech as they destroy each other. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks for backing that up for me and listener here. And then, but now we get into like the robots and the one that's over your shoulder there. Yes, the perfect. I know it's same one there, but how'd you come across like that one? Did you have to like test a bunch of different robots? Like, how do you come up like?
Sure. Well, what happened was I was trying to work out what I was going to do post VR. I knew that from doing events like, I'm not sure if you've got many listeners who will be outside of Manitoba, but there's a small town called Plum Coulee in Manitoba, and I've done the Plum Coulee's Summer Fair, Altona Summer Fair, Cartwright Manitoba Summer Fair with virtual reality. And what I realized is that like 1-2 headsets require quite a lot of work to operate, and the more sort of headsets or the more entertainment devices you have, the more money you're going to drive in. So I wanted to have more than 2 VR headsets, and got these bots instead, and through renting out the robots was able to increase my profits. And so I found the robots through looking at ways that many people could have fun together, and it being sort of low maintenance for me. And I was looking at gel soft. Do you know what gel soft is? It's like airsoft. but instead of having a plastic BB, it's made of gel. It's like an Orbi, and it's much cheaper, much safer. You could get shot in the eyeball, and it would be annoying, and it would hurt, but it wouldn't blind you. So and it better for kids, sort of 14-year-old kind of kids thing. So I was looking into doing that, and came across I was looking on Wikipedia, and it came up with this robot, which also is a gel soft robot. So you can shoot gel balls out of it. And from that, I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing in the world. I'll buy one. And then I just realized that it was so much more fun than just shooting gel balls at each other. They were laser tag, they were races, and then I could do this Sprocket League and control them from afar. And so really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
They drive at 13 kilometers per hour. Like, they're super quick. These they've got they're called Mechanon wheels, which are rollers that are at 45-degree angles. So you can spin on a dime, you can strafe side to side. It's absolutely phenomenal. They're amazing.
That is so much more than what that picture looks like it can do right there.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait.
I should have an animated backdrop. Maybe I should do that. Yeah.
So you're telling me this thing can roll around and shoot those beaded balls in theory?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, at other ones. And then when it shoots the glowing parts, then it says Dave shot Jim. It's a full back end too. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so.
Margot Miller, our mutual friend, has tried it. You have to ask her. I should get a local tech startup community battle going. That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome. I think that's a must. Let's definitely keep that clip in here and quote you on it. We must do this. Yeah,
I must make money for it. No, I'd enjoy that. It'd be fun. Yeah.
No, that'd be super great. What's the maintenance like on these things? Like, they're in the arena and stuff. They bang into each other. Is there much behind the scenes there to worry about? Or
banging into each other's fine. The wheels, the rollers and the wheels, I have found over time wear out, and then the rollers fall out. But they're totally modular. So you get it in 96 different parts, and I built the first 1 or 2. Took about 3 hours. I've built 7 now, and it's really boring. But it's great in that when they crash into each other and a wheel falls off, it's an easy fix. Just to swap it over and off it goes again. Yeah. But awesome. I think I have 8 robots, and then a special type of robot that's got a claw on the front. Pretty cool.
Very cool. That is awesome. I was just thinking the level of wearing all the hats in my own ventures, and then what you just mentioned there, we go from talking insurance to you're mechanically you're building these things out, you're fixing them.
They come with an instruction book. I didn't design the robots, and I'm not an engineer, so I bought into a system, but I did build them. I followed some IKEA style instructions and built them from there. But
but it's still a huge skill.
But you're right. I'm wearing many hats.
I just normally it's not building robots, just to highlight
exactly.
On the scale of things, usually it's okay, you're building a software, or you're providing a service.
I'm totally
a product, right? Where this is just
and I'm doing all the sort of technical of getting people connected, and then also chasing after the robots that they're controlling, tripping over them, trying to explain the rules and things like that. So this is multifaceted, that's for sure.
Great. And we mentioned before, like time length on this thing, like you sign up, is it normally for an hour for a group?
Yeah. So my bookings, the minimum I do is 6 people for an hour. It's $30 a person and $100 per hour. So 6 people for an hour is $280, including tax. And then add another hour, $100. Add another hour, $100. That's how it works.
Oh, that's like really affordable. That
and it's in
sounds like
Canadian dollars too. So
oh yeah, if you're American,
yes,
this is like 40 cents cheaper, whatever that is, or approximately. Yeah.
Just calculate.
Yeah, that's just like a lot less. That's tough to see. Yeah, 280 times 0.6, right? That'd be 168 American. It'd be crazy not to book you.
There you go.
Why not?
If you've got the exchange right.
If you get the exchange, yeah. If you're working on the good side of that one, yeah.
Some West Coast companies have like $60-$70 per person budget. So like when they're looking at things like this, and then they don't have to pay for cabs to get people home and stuff like that. It's I've heard even from Canadian businesses that it's very affordable. It's just being in cheap Manitoba.
Well, you're trying to sell it, to everyone who's looking for a sale. On that front side of things. But yeah, you're right. Like if you want to compare it to like other activities, let's do like an extreme version of like an outing, be like golf and then dinner or something after. You're talking like way longer period of time commitment as well. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like, you're going out for 3 hours there and then dinner afterwards. It's like it's a whole half day. 5
and then
hours
it requires someone to host the whole thing and make sure everyone knows where they're going and stuff. So that's what I offer too, of like making sure that everyone's ready to go and in the right place. And some people just don't follow instructions, so chasing after them and things. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's fun. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah.
No, well, you have affordability. It's easy to access. Like everyone can do it basically, right? Like it's not limiting in many ways to like different like ability
PC
sets.
or Mac, and like a 7 megabits of upload internet access. So like really mediocre internet access or higher. So yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Where are you going to? Are you doing any traveling for this year in trade shows, or if folks are looking to?
I'd love to go to Collision and I'd love to go to United the Prairies. And there's something else that I was like, I really want to go. But my wife is due to have a baby. I guess I'm due to have a baby too in 1 month. So like... right,
I remember we lightly talked about this on a phone call and we were like, I know that's going to work. Yes, I remember you mentioning this now.
And I said to Kristen, my wife, I was like, hey, how about we go to Collision in Toronto in the end of, I think it's the end of June. And she was like, shut up. Like, we're going to have a baby. What are you talking about, you moron? She was very happy that I invited her to come along, but very upset that I'd forgotten about this momentous occasion that's happening. I am planning on going to Ramp Up, but that's less Portal Bots. That's for those that don't know, a North Forge.
It's like we can build up for a company.
Build a business in 50 hours. Last year, my company, our group came second, so I'd like to see if we can improve on that. But that is the weekend before our due date, I think. So we'll have to see. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a few commitments too that weekend, but in terms of Portal Bots, I think we're just going to plug away with LinkedIn reach outs and maybe go to these events next year. Yeah.
Well, and we'll be on LinkedIn with this posting here too to share the good story of Portal Bots and getting folks to try them out. And we're definitely gonna have to set a time for folks here locally to do that. And
I'd like that
and plug away. No, that'd be awesome. If you were able to attend those events, I know like last year you would have been on more of a tour. Like I am going to the prairies, so I'd probably be at a Collision. I think maybe we'll see. And then
so fun.
doing a little bit of a tour. Well, I'll FaceTime you there. We'll get you like a virtual tour when I'm there. Be like, oh, this is where Steve's at.
Yeah.
What's a big takeaway when you're at those events? Like with your company and your brand, like what are things that you try to do to network there, just to talk that out? I don't know if I've even had this conversation with anyone yet.
No, I've been sort of unsure where I want to take Portal Bots all this time. So last year I was like, right, I need to get funding, but I didn't really quite know what I wanted to get funding for. And I think that I was sort of in the back of my mind desperately trying to find a co-founder. I hate doing this alone. I'd love to have a co-founder to sort of help go through the highs and lows with it. So last year I spoke to some funders and realized that I was just massively, behind where I needed to be. And I didn't really have a project in mind. In terms of networking now, if I was to go this time around, it would be around having beers with people, having fun, and getting, talking about my awesome business, and hoping to secure some business through that. One thing that I have done recently is connected with a guy who is an absolute expert. He's a full stack developer and expert with these robots. He's hacked them and done all sorts of fun things, with a view to having, I can only currently run 6 robots at once. I'd like to be able to run like 15, 20. I'd like to have multiple arenas. There are all sorts of like niggly things that I'd like to change, have cool power-ups. There are these Mario Kart style things where you can zap people to sort of add things like that, add different gunshot modes like in laser tag, and he has that ability. Plus I'd be able to have some sort of back end where maybe if I franchise this out, basically suddenly I have this opportunity to do cool development stuff which would involve needing investment. And right now I'm sort of working out, like, I don't personally have the skills to manage that in terms of making it I'm really good at entertainment. I'm really good at finding cool stuff that people want to pay for to do. I'm really good at getting 5-star reviews and getting, like, I guess a world-class service. But when it comes to like sit down and organize, project management is my absolute, what's the opposite of a forte? So that I think is the next step of, like, do I want to do that? And like, I see this as a huge opportunity here. This is an industry that a local Regina-based company have coined connected realities, of having people able to control things from afar. The company I'm talking about are called 54E Dev. They have one-shot golf, where using your phone you're able to play a golf game, but it's a real golf club and a real golf ball and real, I think do you call it crazy golf? Short golf. There's a windmill and there's a whale.
Oh, like mini putt.
Pitch, whatever it's called, mini putt.
Yeah, exactly. Mini golf.
So they're based in Regina, and they do the same sort of thing of people doing something from afar. And then you hear about this sort of virtual claw machines, and it's a brand new industry, and I feel like I'm at the forefront of it here with PortalBots.
Totally.
I think that this sort of thing of people being able to do stuff from the other side of the world is just going to increase. You can entertain people in Canada if you live in China or whatever. So totally. I feel like at some point someone's going to throw billions of dollars into this industry and blow me out of the market. Or do I start developing now and find a way to go into that niche further? So that's where I'm at right now. But I think what I need to do is continue to show that there is a market here and continue to make sales, and people will be much more likely, investors will be much more likely to sort of take heed if I've got tens of thousands of dollars of sales under my belt. So that's what I'm aiming for.
Right. Well, no, that definitely makes sense. Like we talked about at the beginning of the episode here around workplaces using it, and I mean, you look back, referencing like too heavy in the COVID area, like my friends and stuff, to a great way to stay connected was playing like code names on like Zoom.
Yeah, I love code names. Such fun.
Like that kind of stuff. But had there been like a better way to connect, because like we still live across the country and North America stuff too, right? It's just like, how do you stay connected in different ways? People are always looking for stuff. So,
and it turns out murdering each other with robots is a really good way to connect. Yeah. And I talk about the analogy of like a lot of the other companies are sort of, you might do cocktail mixing or cake baking or whatever, but if you drop an egg or a lemon or something, like Dave in accounts might laugh at you because you're stupid, but like it doesn't really have an effect on anyone else. Whereas PortalBots, if I shoot you and your robot dies, there's a real life consequences. So it's truly interactive, and
totally. I mean, ultimately you're making a new experience for folks to chat about. I think this is just so awesome, creative way to do it, and it's going to continue to grow, no doubt. I'm just like guessing, even from what you're like saying here about like different things that you can get into, is that there might be a different version of this, like the robots that you have today that you'll get into and maybe evolve into different things. I'm just like kind of reading into what you were saying here, and I'm like, this is going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
talking about my ideas. Like, I'd love to create an escape room with these robots that people can control from anywhere. Like, let's say having
really cool.
a camera on a ceiling, someone's controlling, and then a robot going through a maze and sort of helping each other out. Love to do that. Don't have the skills to do it. I've talked to people about doing it, and R&D is very expensive. So another area where a sort of, a developer and sort of investor would come in. Right. And one I've been thinking about recently is like, could you do a horror experience where someone is controlling a robot through a darkened area? And could things be like absolutely terrifying with things jumping out at you? I think there's a lot of fun stuff that could be done with this kind of thing.
Yeah. What about like, this is gonna be like random podcast info. I'm just gonna go for it. But like, okay. If you can like drive these things around, maybe not like with the shooting feature, because that sounds, like slightly negative in the context that I'm going to bring up, but like,
okay, sure.
You just like tour like a city. Like,
absolutely. And there are robots that are able to do this. And quite early on, I was looking into when museums were all closed down, could this be used for a museum? The thing is, the gun is 8 inches off the ground, so you'd see the base of a museum thing really well. There was a time when I was talking to Winnipeg, the economic development Winnipeg people, and I was like, we were thinking about like, how could these be used, and could you do an outside thing in Winnipeg with the Human Rights Museum behind you and things like that? There's a way of showcasing it, and I'd love to be able to do that. If it rained, it would be a real tragedy. But yeah,
these things aren't waterproof, I take it.
They are. The gel balls that they fire are in water, so they're waterproof up. But I wouldn't submerge one. I think that'd be a real bad idea. Yeah. And the rollers are great for driving around indoors, but if they get mucky, they'll stop working and fall off.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
That'd be like a super neat. Like, I've seen a few different versions of companies that kind of have stuff out there, and then I was just listening to another podcast, and it was talking about just the use of tech and travel tourism stuff, and this seems to just be kind of right in the mix of that. Although it'd be kind of weird, you're like walking down a place and also there's like a robot beside you.
But there's a company on TikTok that's doing this sort of companion thing, which is like a mini Segway but also a cooler at the same time, and you walk and it follows you. It looks like it's a cartoon. What? It looks so crazy. But and I saw it and I was like, how much beer can it hold? And it can hold a full 6-pack. Like, it was awesome. It was really cool. Something else in terms of connected reality that I've seen is this company out of China. I've totally forgotten what it's called, but it's this woman who has a total hydraulic sort of car simulator that she has in her house somewhere. So it moves around and there's a screen, and then it's like the equivalent of Portal Bots, where you're controlling in a radio controlled car through 5G, and that radio controlled car could be anywhere in the world, and it's got haptics that go both ways. So if it hits like a sand dune, it bobs her around and stuff. And I'm like, that is incredible. If I was more mechanically abled, I would be I'd totally buy into it and see how it works. There's a latency issue, so you have to get used to there being a slight delay, which is not ideal. But I think that, imagine being in a, think of this for a sort of Rec Room style entertainment. I'm not going to advertise Rec Room.
Totally.
But a sort of...
no.
Sorry, my alarm's going off. How annoying. If you're in a... instead of doing a VR entertainment type thing, you go into a booth and you and your mates are, instead of driving at a arcade computer things, if you're driving real vehicles like in a Cinnamon Park or something, how cool would that be? It'd be amazing, right? So yeah.
Well, I'm just even thinking like next steps, like if you're really good and skilled at this, or many people like get good at that, like that delay sounds a lot like something that would be on the moon or Mars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the ways that people talk about, like, why would I do Portal Bots? Why wouldn't I just play a computer game? And I say, like, if you had the opportunity to drive the Mars rover or play a simulation of it, you'd drive the Mars rover, wouldn't you? You'd pressing a button and something happening on Mars somewhere, thousands, tens of thousands, 100, a million, a billion miles away.
I don't even know. Yeah, it's far. It's light years.
Kilometers away down the road. Then it would be it'd be incredible, right? But doing a simulation, it's just like, that's something local on your computer. It's totally different. There's something quite quaint about controlling something from afar. Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, this has been awesome. Hi, Chris. Tell people how do they find you? I know that we have this behind the screen.
Cool.
But I'll get you to say it out loud.
Hold on,
we have the website.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I'm looking this way. www.portalbots.ca is my website. And then on social media, I am
right there. Yeah, at Portalbots, and we will have it included below too. I just want to hear you that kind of say, and then okay, so we won't be able to find you at like trade shows and stuff, but basically they'll be able to get a hold of you on social media.
And for people that want to try it out in a sort of live demo type thing to see how it works and give it a go and introduce it to their teams, I do live demos. I can have a chat about it on normal Zoom meetings, and people who live locally, I can have come around and have a pint and chase robots and see what it's like, which is really cool too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm on all social media. LinkedIn's the best way though. Look up Portalbots on LinkedIn and you'll see it.
Portalbots on LinkedIn. Okay, and we'll have those links below for a listener that's out there if this is on YouTube. And just want to say thanks again, Chris, for hopping on with me. You're always such great energy. We could go on for way longer.
I want to do a podcast. Let's invite me next time. Cool.
Absolutely. So this sounds good, and I look forward to coming and checking this out for myself now. We've talked about it for way too long, so we're just gonna have to make that a thing.
I'm gonna go pick up my kid at some point.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much, Chris.